Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another day of lockdown lessons. Today's lesson is going to be another lesson looking at the movement of the eyes. Just bear with me for one moment. Hi, TC. Good morning. How are you? That's offline. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. If you want to say hi in the comments. It's great to see that some people are starting to watch on YouTube. You can catch the live lessons via YouTube as well as via Facebook. Okay, so how's everyone been doing with the lessons so far this week? How are your eyes feeling? Yesterday's lesson, I think, was quite an interesting one in terms of understanding the mechanism of the eye and understanding that rest is an important part of our regulatory process. So we all need to be able to have moments of rest within activity, and that allows the body to recover. It's a very similar thing with exercise science in general. So, for example, if you were running, if you were sprinting at a very high speed, your system would run out of the required energy a lot quicker, and it would need to rest in order to replenish it. So that could be to do with the energy, the ATP circuit, and supplying energy around the body. Could be to do with oxygen in the muscles. It can also be to do with the buildup of lactic acid. So hopefully what that demonstrates is that, our body is managing a very fine balance, or it's managing balance. It's trying to organize ourselves. The process is called homeostasis, and it's apparent in kind of everything that we do. So even with the eyes, if we're working for a long period of time and our eyes are very active, just taking a moment or even 5 minutes of rest, closing our eyes, can have a really big difference on our quality of seeing. So I hope that's interesting for you guys. Today's lesson is going to be looking at distance and depth perception a little. Depth perception is a little more complicated and not something I feel comfortable talking about so much. It isn't as simple as two eyes converging on one subject and giving you a sense of depth, because one eye can also perceive depth, and it has to do with the image being translated in the brain. But what I can do in these lessons is talk about the skill of both eyes and this kind of act of focusing together and convergence. So that's what today's lesson is going to be about. So we're just going to jump straight in. So take a moment to come to your sitting position. Bring your attention to yourself. Maybe you can notice your breathing initially. Just kind of check in, like, how are you this morning? What's apparent to you? What's active in your system? How's your emotional process? How's your thought process? How's your physical state? And then just breathe for a moment. Just breathe and let your body kind of, as we were just saying, like, let your body take a moment to recover, to replenish some of the things that it needs. And then hopefully that has some effect on how you're feeling. Good morning, Louise. So yeah, maybe that kind of ties in that we have kind of high expectations of ourselves. And I think it's a really good practice to be able to be more considerate and give ourselves rests and time for reflection. Everything like that, I think, is really important. We can't be on the go all the time. It doesn't work. Great. All right. So with both of your eyes closed, In fact, actually, let's start with this. Bring your thumb in front of your eyes. Open your eyes. Bring your thumb in front of your eyes and look at the wall in front of you. Let me see how I need to look. Yeah, so there's a specific point that you can look to at the wall in front of you where the thumb would separate and you would see two of them. So it's like just past the thumb. If you look just past the thumb to the wall in front of you, you should see two thumbs, right? You've obviously only got one in the air, but if you look past your thumb to the wall, you should see two thumbs. Okay. Can you tell of the two thumbs which one is clearer, the left one or the right one? Okay. And if you can see a difference in the two, for example, I think that the right of the two is clearer for me. What I want you to do is just close your left eye and notice which thumb disappears. And then close your right eye and notice which thumb disappears. Close your left eye, close your right eye. And hopefully what that will do is give you a sense of your eye dominance. Which eye is clearer to you? If you want me to describe that again, I'm very happy to. So you're just going to have your thumb in front of your face and you're going to look to the wall past your thumb and you should see two images of your thumb. Okay. As you look there, close one eye, notice which thumb disappears. Close the other eye and notice which thumb disappears and see if you can see which of those two images is clearer to you. And as you take away one eye and then take away the other eye, the eye that keeps the clearer image, that doesn't disappear the clearer image, is your dominant eye. Dominance being in a similar way that we have a dominant hand, that some people are right-handed, some people are left-handed. We have a dominant foot. Some people are right-footed, some people are left-footed. But all of these things are in some way kind of learned habits. I mean, maybe right-handed dominance, and that's maybe a more complicated subject that a lot of people have different theories about. But eye dominance is definitely something that's a learned behavior. So we learn from sitting in a certain direction to paying attention with a certain side of us to favor one eye or the other. Okay. With that said, close both of your eyes. Close both of your eyes. And just take a moment to rest your eyes. You're blocking out the light as we did yesterday. And just kind of give yourself a moment to let your eyes rest. Rest in the middle, not doing anything, not active. And then what I want you to do is begin, as we did in Monday's lessons, begin to take your eyes very gently over to the left and then bring them back to the middle. And then take them very gently over to the right and bring them back to the middle. But what I want you to do is focus on just the movement of one eye. Both eyes will be moving, but as you take your eyes over to the left, I want you just to pay attention on the left eye. As you take your eyes over to the right, just pay attention to the left eye. So keep your attention on your left eye as you take your eyes left and right. And do it slowly. So something that, you kind of, that tracking movement, as if you were tracking an object along the horizon. You could pick an animal or some other object, a car. And just think that you're following it with your left eye. And of course, unless you are very skillful in differentiating your eyes, which some people can do, both eyes are coming along for the ride. But your focus is on the kind of quality, the smoothness, the sensation in your left eye. Okay. So just do it a few times. If you want, you can rest when you come to the middle. You can rest when you come to the middle and then begin the movement again. Go over to the left and rest. Go over to the right, come to the middle and rest. Great. So let's everyone take a little rest from that. I'm saying breast quite a lot of times in that particular moment. And then begin the same process following your right eye. So your attention is now on your right eye. You're surveying the kind of the horizon in front of you, to the left and to the right, but your attention is following the feeling in your right eye. So you're following your right eye as it moves left and right. And just do that a few times. Maybe you can notice your breathing as you do it. Are there certain moments in the movement of the eye, right and left, that you feel different internally? When I was doing this lesson earlier myself, the next bit that we're going to do, looking up and down, I could really feel like an internal sensation when I was looking up with one eye. Where this is just taking the eyes along the horizon to the right and to the left, and your attention is on your right eye. And how does it feel? Good. Okay, so take a little rest from that. And maybe if you want, you could open your eyes, you could take in the room around you. And if you wanted, you could bring your thumb back up and you could check. You could look past your thumb, see if you can find the two images of the thumb again. And then take one eye closed, and see which thumb is clearer and which one disappears as you close one eye. And so if we kind of think about what the eyes are doing, right? The eyes, they occupy two different spaces, two distinct spaces, right? They're not together. However, what they do is, if I'm looking at my webcam, I see that webcam in perfect clarity. I see like the whole of that webcam. So my eyes are taking the information from one eye, the information from the other eye, and they're combining that so that I see a clear image. So if you just pick an object in your room and just notice that as you're looking at that object, and maybe you can think for yourself that your two eyes are active in the process of looking at that one object. And that's something that we call convergence. Convergence of the eyes to perceive a clear, unified image. Okay, so close your eyes and have your eyes kind of centered on the horizon. And now the object that you picked earlier, whether it's an animal or a car or some other object, see if you can imagine it going out away from you, as far as you could possibly imagine it going. As it goes out into the distance, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And see really how far you can imagine it, how far you can imagine tracking it with your eyes. And then when this kind of imaginary image goes as far as you can imagine it into the distance, and then slowly begin bringing it back. And obviously, as the object is coming closer to you, it's becoming slightly larger. Maybe you don't want to think about something that's so large that it kind of overwhelms you when you bring the imaginary image back to your face. But see if you can trace the kind of the image that you're looking at, the imaginary image you're looking at, all the way back between the eyebrows to this kind of closest point of convergence that's possible. And when you've brought it back, begin to take it out. Begin to take it out again. Move that image, that focal point away from you as far as you possibly can, into the distance. So you could imagine it going all the way to the horizon. If you've ever been on a beach and seen a ship like right on the horizon, maybe that's quite a nice image. And then follow that image coming back. Follow it coming back and see if you can follow it kind of really smoothly, really slowly, bringing that image so it converges right back in the center of your eyebrows. And your eyes are closed at this point. Notice your breathing as you do this. Notice how comfortably you're sitting. Does it change at all? As you go through the process of taking your focal point away from you and bringing it towards you, do you notice yourself becoming uncomfortable at any point? Is there any point in your visual range that's less comfortable for you for some reason? So it could be that as you come and you have the eyes converging very close, that kind of gives you an internal sensation as well. Or the same, if you look very far away, if that's uncomfortable for you, you have a sensation in your body. Good. So the next time the image comes back, just let go of the mental image for a moment and just let your eyes rest. Feel the quality of the eye. See if you can kind of feel the shape of the eye, the ability of the eye, the shape of the eye to rest within the eye socket. Great. And then what I want you to do is, so we're going to kind of move back to what we were doing before, this like scanning movement. But now we're going to do it up and down. So before we were moving left and right. And now what I'd like you to do is begin to move your kind of visual focal point up and down. Follow an object up the midline and down the midline. Okay. Again, see if you can just keep your focus on your left eye. Keep your focus on your left eye as you take your focal point down and up. Again, if you need to use a kind of an image, an animal, car, boat, whatever. And so you take your eyes up and notice again, as you take your eyes up or your focal point up, does that change your internal feeling? Are there points as you go through the length of up all the way to down that you notice some kind of effect in your body? You notice some change. Certain aspects of vision. So, for example, in tomorrow's lessons, I'm going to talk a little bit about our blind spot. But, I don't know if you've ever driven, but we know that there's a certain point in our visual field from driving that we need to check our mirrors for, because there's a certain place that we could miss if something is kind of coming into our space. So notice as your eyes go down and your eyes go up, like, do you have any changes in your emotional state, in your mental state, the speed of your breathing, your sense of tension or relaxation? Does it feel relaxing at certain points? Like, I haven't been here for a while, this feels really nice. Or I haven't been here for a while, this doesn't feel really nice. Good. Take a little rest. Take a little rest. Good. And then a few times, begin to do that same movement, tracing the object up and down. And as you trace it up and down, see if you can use your attention with your right eye. So keep your attention on your right eye. And again, take your time, do it slowly. Don't speed through the process. Notice if you can kind of keep a smooth line up, all the way up, and a smooth line all the way down. So it's not jumping between points, it's continuous. Great. And you can notice your breathing as you do it, your sense of comfort in the rest of your body. And when you've done it a few times, when you've focused on your right eye going up and going down, just bring both eyes to rest. So we've had an opportunity for both eyes to move left and right, and we've had an opportunity for both eyes to move up and down. In some way, kind of helping to organize some of the muscles around sight, the organizational muscles around the eye, which may help with this action of kind of convergence or focusing on one point. So after you've closed your eyes and you've had a little rest, come back to your eyes on the horizon, find that image again. Find the image that we were following out into the distance, all the way to the horizon, and see if you can just do it a few times. But see if you can feel that the outwards journey is slightly slower than the inwards journey. So the inwards journey comes in to like in between your eyes, converges a little quicker than the outwards journey going away from your eyes. It's almost like you take time going out and surveying, and then you quickly come back. Take time coming out and surveying and quickly come back. Doesn't need to be too quick, but just go with what's comfortable for you. We may look at the kind of the speed or agility of the eyes tomorrow in a little more detail. So it's like a little introduction to that. And hopefully you can feel that maybe what you can do is, as you're taking your eyes away from you, if you don't worry so much about the speed, but focus on your left eye as you're taking your focal point away from you a few times, and then focus on your right eye as you're taking your focal point away from you in the middle. And just notice kind of how each eye is helping the process, is involved in the process, and they're in some way working together to find a kind of a point of clarity or a unified visual point. Not saying that very well. Great. So take a little rest again. Take a little rest. And just allow your eyes to open and take in the room around you. Again, if you want to look at a specific point, maybe you could look out of the window and see if there's an aeroplane that you could kind of follow with your eyes. And if you want, you can bring your thumb back up and you can just look past it, see these two images, and notice if the thumb has become clearer with both eyes. Is the visual image of the thumb slightly clearer with both eyes? And again, if you look slightly past it, maybe to the wall away from, like just past your thumb, you should get two images of your thumb. And then if you close one eye and then open them and then close the other eye, you should get a sense of which eye is slightly clearer than the other. And maybe it's changed slightly from the lesson. Maybe it's equalized a bit. The image, both kind of like ghost images of the thumb are a little clearer for you. So as you go through the day, maybe you can just take a moment occasionally to close your eyes, take an imaginary object away and towards. This is another really good way of resting the eyes. I think that they say and I would have to actually read up around this, but I think that they say looking at distance is more relaxing to us. So having a long visual field is more relaxing for our eyes than looking at something close range. So if you are in a space like myself, where it's not a massive space and I don't have a great view, taking a walk and just having a slightly longer range view can be really restful for the eyes as well. Great. So I hope you've enjoyed the lesson. If you have any comments or questions, please put them down in the comments. If you like the lesson and you want to share it, you can share it via my Thoughtful Movements page, Facebook page. You can also share it via YouTube. If you want to rewatch the lesson, you can do that in my Thoughtful Movements community group or on YouTube as well. If you'd like to make a small donation for the lesson or any of the lessons this week, there is a link in the description to my PayPal account. And yeah, if you have any kind of questions that you don't want to say in the thread, in the comment thread, you can message me individually. I'm available if you want to ask me anything, or you want to tell me any of your experiences in the lessons. It'd be great to hear from you. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll be back tomorrow at 11. And I think we're going to look a little at the agility of the eyes. So that should be fun too. All right. So have a lovely day. I will see you back here tomorrow. Take care. Bye.